A lot goes into having the most dominant serve the game has ever seen. You need excellent technique, and you need plenty of plain old muscle. But it doesn't hurt to also be nearly 7 feet tall. It's like John Isner was playing with a shorter net than everyone else, and he took full advantage of that. This episode of Acing It is presented by Stella Artois. Numbers aren't inherently funny, but when you look at the statistical context of John Isner's career, you really can't help but shake your head and laugh. Tomas Berdych and Kevin Anderson, two of tennis's most prolific recent servers, combined for 14,911 aces in their accomplished careers. Isner nearly matched that total by himself. Blessed with a 6'10" frame and brilliantly repeatable mechanics, Isner hit 14,470 aces over the course of a 16-year career. The 6'11" Ivo Karlovic is the only other player to top even 12,000 career aces, and only Karlovic was able to top Isner's averages of 91.8% of service games won and 70.6% of breakpoints saved. Isner also dished out the fastest serve ever recognized by the ATP, one that clocked in at a cool 157.2 miles per hour. Karlovic topped out at 156, Milos Raonic and Andy Roddick at 155, Nick Kyrgios and Roger Federer, a mere 143. That was about the average of Isner's first service speed. You can hit the ball awfully hard after all, when you're basically striking it straight down at the ground. According to the data at tennisabstract.com, Isner had at least 40 aces in a match 21 times, including 48 in the last match of his career. He served at least 30 aces 94 times, including 42 times in a best-of-3 set match. Those totals don't even include the numbers from a lot of his early career challenger matches, and you know he was blowing his serve by plenty of those guys. Riding what was literally the most untouchable serve in the sport's history, Isner won 16 ATP titles, including a Masters 1000 event in Miami in 2018, the same year he reached the Wimbledon semifinals. He made 5 Masters levels finals as well, and 2 other Grand Slam quarterfinals. He beat the number 1 player in the world 3 times, Rafael Nadal once, Novak Djokovic twice.
John Isner, welcome to the top 10!
He finished as the world's top-ranked American 8 times and finished every year from 2010 to 2019 in the ATP Top 20. He peaked at 8th in 2018. He accomplished all of this despite the baked-in drawbacks of being 6'10", namely that it's hard to be as agile as your opponent in rallies. And he did this despite never winning more than 32% of his return points in a season. The current average for a top 50 player is 37%. 5 percentage points is an enormous deficit in this sport, but he erased it by winning 72% of his own service points, 9 percentage points higher than the top 50 average. Almost no one broke serve less than Isner, but no one had their own serve broken less either. Let's just say it was rather poetic that Isner's final match, against Michael Mmoh in the second round of the 2023 US Open, featured 5 sets and 2 tiebreakers. Honestly, they should rename tiebreakers. Call them Isners as a tribute. Isner won more than 500 of them in his career, a record that, as with all those aces, will be difficult for anyone to ever match. In his 3 wins over number 1 players, 4 of the 6 sets he won went to a tiebreak. When he reached his first career final in Washington, D.C. in 2007, he did so by winning 5 deciding third-set tiebreakers in 5 days. When he played in his last final in Dallas in 2023, he lost 6-7, 7-6, 7-6. He has 4 children. I just assume one of them is named 7 and one of them is named 6. At the very least, we should call final set match tiebreakers Isners, because he was directly responsible for them. He played in the 2 longest matches in Wimbledon history, the second of which came in his Lone Slam semifinal in 2018. He fell to Kevin Anderson by an astonishing scoreline, 7-6, 6-7, 6-7, 6-4, 26-24. The match lasted 6 hours and 36 minutes, and even though Novak Djokovic needed a 10-8 fifth set win to advance past Rafael Nadal that same day, Anderson was on the court much longer and had much deader legs in a straight set finals loss. In all, Isner played 12 slam matches that went past 12-all in the 5th set. Never mind the tired legs and exhaustion that comes with that, the pure logistical nightmares of it led to change. Even Wimbledon adopted a 5th set tiebreaker in 2019, but can you imagine if professional tennis hadn't implemented tiebreaks of any kind starting in the mid-70s? In every tournament Isner entered, he might have played in an Isner-Mahut. You probably remember that one. But let's refresh your memory because some of the more absurd details got lost with time. The original 1-7 win by 2 tiebreaker was implemented at least in part because of a Wimbledon match between Pancho Gonzalez and Charlie Pasarell, one that lasted more than 5 hours and featured sets of 24-22, 16-14, and 11-9. When Isner and Isner-Mahut met in the first round of the 2010 Wimbledon Championships, they played a match that lasted more than twice as long. It was history that can thankfully never be repeated. It lasted 11 hours and 5 minutes over 3 days. The 5th set extended to the equivalent of about 10 7-6 sets, and at 8 hours and 11 minutes, it alone lasted longer than any other match by itself. There were 183 total games and only 3 breaks of serve. At one point, there were 168 consecutive holds. There were 216 aces, 113 from Isner, 103 from Mahut. The Guardian's Zan Brooks should have won a Pulitzer, or maybe a Nobel Prize, for his live blog of the match. "On and on they go," he wrote at one point. "Soon they will sprout beards, and their hair will grow down their backs, and their tennis whites will yellow and then rot off their bodies. And still they will stand out there on court 18, belting aces and listening as the umpire calls the score. Finally, I suppose, one of them will die." He wrote that early in the 5th set, actually. 4 hours later, he was blogging about zombies eating Roger Federer. The match was still going, with a different live blogger the next day. Isner had a match point at 10-9 in the 5th set and earned another 2 at 33-32. No dice. Mahut earned 2 break points at 50-all. Nope. Another match point for Isner at 59-58. Mahut saved that one as well. Finally, a pair of Isner winners ended the longest, most absurd match tennis will ever produce.
Set match, Isner. 3 sets to 2.
The final scoreline: 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, 70-68.
When you come out and play a match like this and with the atmosphere like this, you don't feel tired really out here, even though it's exactly what we both were.
He got predictably throttled in his next match, winning only 5 games in 3 sets, and for the only time ever in a Grand Slam match, serving 0 aces. In a piece for the 5-year anniversary of Isner-Mahut, even Isner's mother Karen told ESPN, "It was awful. It was not fun. I don't think it is a pleasant memory." That probably doesn't feel good coming from Mom, but those were the lingering thoughts of basically anyone who ever had to play Isner. No matter what your strengths and weaknesses were, no matter what kind of game you intended to play, no matter how good you were at rallying or in long points, no matter if you were the number 1 or number 1,000 player in the world, you were going to play Isner's match. He was going to bomb aces by you and force you to hold serve over and over again. You were probably going to do just that, but if you suffered even a single glitch or moment of wavering attention, he was going to close out the set with ease. And if the set went to a tiebreaker, he was probably going to win that too. He won 60% of them in his career, after all. It was like playing against a Mike Leach air raid team in college football, or against the Daryl Morey era Houston Rockets in their most 3-point happy moments. Either the threes went in or they didn't, and you had far less control over the outcome than you preferred. In other words, Isner was the servebot prototype, the man to which all other servebots are compared. There have been 8 ATP players listed at 6'7" or taller with a max serve of 143 miles per hour or faster. A couple of them are active and on the rise. Nikola Yari, 6'7" and 28 years old, has peaked at 16th in the ATP rankings and has reached 2 tournament finals in 2024. Giovanni Ampezzi Pericard, 6'8" and 21, has quickly risen into the 50s in recent months. The most successful servebots, however, are currently inactive. Ivo Karlovic peaked at 14th in 2008 and retired a few months after Isner. The 6'8" Jerzy Janowicz peaked at 14th in 2013 after an out-of-nowhere run to the Wimbledon semis. He could never replicate that run, however, and retired in 2022. Riley Opelka, 6'11" and the man most responsible for embracing the servebot moniker, and the reason why Fila began selling a servebot shirt, peaked at 17th and flashed potential for something greater. He beat Isner in 5 out of 6 meetings, but a number of injuries have derailed his progress. He's still only 26, but he's played only 1 match since August 2022. Isner played Opelka 6 times and Karlovic 5 times. These 11 matches encompass 29 total sets. 23 of them were decided by tiebreakers. Of course they were. Long live the servebot, and long live the greatest of the servebots.